October is not only a time for fall, but it's also a Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And today we are focusing our attention on a form of cancer, awareness for endometrial cancer. We have a special guest with us, don't we?
Yes, we do. And every woman out there knows that you have to go for your mammograms and you have to go for your Pap tests and all kind of checkups that we get that we have to make sure we're vigilant on so that we look for signs of anything. If there is, we could catch it early and be able to detect and treat. So that's what our show's all about today. We're dedicating it to women's health and especially that particular field of it. And we're hoping that you know about endometrial cancer. If you don't know, you're going to know by the end of the show. The color for endometrial cancer is peach. And so we're trying to be peached up here with our flowers, our beautiful flowers from Smith Floral in West Hazleton, and they made sure to give us even peachy flowers.
I love it. So Cheryl Shema is here. She is a cancer survivor, and we're happy to have her here on The Girls. You're going to learn a lot as we look at awareness for cancer, as it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but today we're focusing on a rare form of cancer, endometrial cancer, here on The Girls. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Girls. If you're just joining us, we have a special guest with us today that we're going to speak about women's health and in particular cancer, with this being Cancer Awareness Month for women. We're going to concentrate on endometrial cancer today, something we don't normally hear, do we, Janine?
Well, everyone has been affected in some way, shape, or form by cancer, and we are happy to have Cheryl Shema here with us today, a cancer survivor, and I'm sure you love hearing those words.
Yes, I do, very much so.
Well, thanks for being with us. We want to tell your story. And we want people to know, because you've inspired me and I've followed you through Instagram since you were diagnosed. So, walk us through why you went to the doctor in the first place.
Well, basically what happened was I had my annual exam December of 2016. And when I had my exam, Dr. Muir, I guess he must have noticed something, and he recommended that I have a hysteroscopy and a D&C right away. So we scheduled that. It was right between Christmas and New Year's. And I pretty much felt, that everything went okay. He said everything went okay. But when I got a phone call a few days later from his nurse telling me, I should come into the office and that I should bring somebody with me.
What happened with that? Did your heart just
My heart
sink
just
to
stopped.
the floor?
Yes. And I immediately thought the worst. I got a voicemail message, so I called her back right away. And basically, I said to the nurse, I said, please tell me what's going on. I know it's something bad. So basically, she just told me I have abnormal cells, and the doctor recommends, I come in and talk to him, and I bring someone with me. So
let me stop you right there. You said you went for your normal your annual exam.
Yes.
Had you had any symptoms at all prior to that?
I was having some symptoms, basically some bleeding in between periods, a little bit of pain, a little bit of cramping here and there in between periods. And I kind of just realized that it was menopause. A lot of my friends had the same symptoms, and that's what I believed it was. So I really didn't think anything was wrong.
Okay, so how old were you at the time?
47 is when I started having some symptoms, but at the time of my exam, I was 48.
So we're going back to December of last year.
Yes,
so this
2016.
2016 that you first went to the doctor. So
yes.
You went, they did the test, they said abnormal, come back in, bring someone with you.
Right, so originally we thought it was early stages. Dr. Muir thought I would just need a hysterectomy. So I was like, okay, fine. He said maybe worst case scenario, some radiation. Which I was fine with that. I was like, okay, I can do this. So he recommended that I go to a team of gynecological oncologists at Lehigh Valley in Allentown. So I made an appointment with Dr. Boulay, and he was very, very compassionate. I had a consultation with him. His own wife went through cancer. So I really felt, he was a really good doctor, upon first meeting him. So we scheduled the hysterectomy for February. I had a full hysterectomy, so everything, was removed. And basically, I felt everything went okay. The surgery went well. I was able to go back to work in a few days. I had a robotic surgery, so it wasn't done abdominally. So the recovery is much quicker.
So what you're talking about for anybody who's listening, when you have robotic surgery, they're able to do it through the vagina and take out all of your...
It was actually done through 5 incisions through my belly button. Right. But yes, it was removed then through the vagina. Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
everything's removed that way, so that makes your recovery much better too.
Yes.
But when they're talking robotics, how fascinating is that this surgery has been perfected and done
Right.
by a robot, so it has less chance of having an error of nicking any of the other organs inside.
Exactly.
And also your doctor, is it Bolet?
Yes.
He actually did a documentary that he shares with people with
Yes.
his wife's cancer,
Yes,
which is
yes, and it's really about getting through cancer and, more or less being positive through, going through your cancer journey, which he recommended I watch his video, which I did, and it pretty much brings you to tears and makes you realize, that you could get through it. And half of the battle is really just being a positive person throughout the whole ordeal.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is, when I first contacted Cheryl, it was on Instagram because I, was following some of your daily posts that you had, and I'm thinking, first of all, when I found out you had it, I sent you a message because
Right.
I really didn't know. And then I followed your post and I was thinking like, this is amazing that people need to hear about this because some people don't have the will or the strength to have that positivity without someone helping them along.
Right.
And then when you sent me this is literally 3 pages of, send me an outline of what we can talk about. And I sent you a message and I was really in tears because your story is definitely amazing. And I know there's hundreds of thousands of stories like this out there that, people can share and support each other and get the message out there. So it's great that you're able to watch that video. Hopefully we can share that and
Yes.
reach out to more people that are going through cancer right now. Maybe you just found out you had cancer or you're going through another illness. Maybe we could help them out on the show.
That was the biggest part in the whole thing was I am not a good sick person. I'm not one person to just sit back and feel sorry for myself. So that was the important part in the whole journey with myself is trying to be positive. I made myself walk every day. I would walk a mile in the morning. I would walk a mile at night with my dog. So basically just keep going through the whole thing.
Now you're in too is like you ate healthy, you live a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
You don't smoke.
You're naturally thin.
Right.
You eat healthy, you live a healthy life, and here you are diagnosed with endometrial cancer.
Right. I was probably the healthiest I was in my life. I was running 5Ks. I was eating salads for lunch every day, eating very healthy, and I was the last person on earth that I thought would end up with cancer, and there it was.
Now, you did mention your dad, that
Yes.
your dad was with you when you got the first diagnosis after the
Right.
hysterectomy.
After the hysterectomy, my 2-week follow-up after the hysterectomy, we expected good news, and my mom was busy with my nephew, so I took my dad with me, and I met with the doctor myself first, and he came in and told me basically that they found it in one of my lymph nodes. They took a sampling of 4 lymph nodes, and it was found in a very small area of one of them. So again, my heart just sank, and he told me I needed chemo, 6 rounds of chemo, 25 radiation. So then when my dad came in the room, he expected that everything was going to be good, and it wasn't good news, and it was heart-wrenching. My dad pretty much said, you can get through this, and we both left there and went. I just remember being in the car with him, and we both just broke down in tears. But then he looked at me and he said, Cheryl, you're strong, you can get through this, and you can fight it. And I said, yes, you're right, and I am going to fight it.
And that's what it is. It is a fight.
Yes.
You really have to be strong enough to fight it because, as you mentioned before, the journey from the time that you're diagnosed until you go through the chemo and you come out of it, that you could actually take a breath.
Right.
I think you must hold your breath the whole time, don't you?
You do. With each treatment, you hold your breath, and you just don't know what side effects you're going to have and how it's going to affect your body. And
Talk a little bit about that, because when you went through, everyone's affected differently by chemo and radiation. So what was your experience with the chemo, and what was your experience with the radiation as you went through the process?
Okay, so pretty much after the hysterectomy, I started my first chemo and radiation the same day on March 29th. The radiation, I would go Monday through Friday, 25 rounds of radiation I had, and the chemo was pretty much spread out over, a couple of months, but the radiation was very hard on my body. I was being radiated in my lower part of my body, and my digestive system really was affected by the time Friday would come. With the chemo, the beginning, I had nausea, I was tired, I would become short of breath when I was walking, but I was able to deal with that. The radiation, I think, was a little bit harder on my body, per se, than the chemo.
And you were basically living alone with this at night. So
Yes,
you went to
yes.
bed at night with your mind just wondering there was no one there with you.
I had a wonderful support system between my family, my close friends, my coworkers. But yes, at night, that's the hard part, when you're going to sleep at night and you're thinking, am I going to be okay? Am I going to not make it through this? And there were many nights I cried myself to sleep, and you wish you had someone there, to be there with you. But I would get up the next day and I'm like, okay, I'm here another day, and I'm gonna go for a walk now with my dog, and somehow, some way I got the strength to do it each day, and that's really, what helped me get through all of that.
And do you have any children?
No children, no, just a dog, yes. Mm-hmm.
That was a tough one for you as
Yes.
well, I would imagine.
Right, yes. No, just knowing, having a full hysterectomy, that, that chance is no longer there to have a child, that's hard as well.
Well, coming out of the hospital from having the hysterectomy, what was the time frame before you started your treatment?
The hysterectomy was February 8th, so really it was like pretty much a month and a half afterwards that I started. Yes.
What happened from the time you had the hysterectomy until you started your treatments to your body, from having that drastic change with your organs removed?
Pretty much you're put into immediate menopause, so hot flashes galore. So I'm still dealing with those, and having cancer, you can't take anything. So basically, you put your face in a refrigerator, you have a fan with you at all times. So on top of that, with the chemo and radiation, it was a very, very trying time, very trying.
Okay, so if you're just tuning in, we're with Cheryl Shema. She is a cancer survivor, and she was diagnosed back in December of 2016 with endometrial cancer. It's a rare form of cancer,
yes,
actually. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the ending of the cancer treatments and life after cancer. You're watching The Girls. We're at our Laurel Mall location here in Hazleton.
We'll be right back. Make sure you call your friends and tell them not to miss this great show. Welcome back to The Girls. If you're just joining us, we're with our special guest today, survivor of cancer, Cheryl, and she is here with us, Janine, on the set at The Girls in the Laurel Mall. If you haven't done it already, make sure that you download our free app so you can watch the show again and again and again. There's a lot of great information here. You can share it with your friends. So
let's talk about, we left off at talking about your radiation and your chemo. There's different forms of chemo treatments and there's different forms of radiation. So what did you go through? Because I know you said you had a port.
Right, yes. I had to have surgery to have a port installed, which I had no idea what that meant when they first told me. But basically your port is put in so you can get your chemo right through the port instead of always having to get a needle in your arms to, put the chemo in.
And that port is about the size of like a pacemaker,
Yes.
almost like the size of an old pack of matches or something.
Did it hurt?
It's like circular. No, when I originally got the surgery, it was sore for a while, but eventually you don't even know you have it. And it really is a godsend, because with having to just go through there instead of your veins in your arms, it really is a godsend.
It's a direct line in.
Yes. But basically, with the chemo that I had 2 rounds of cisplatin. So with that treatment, I did not lose my hair, but then I also needed 4 treatments of carboplatin and Taxol. They also call it Taxol. And with those 4, the doctor told me, I would lose my hair. I didn't lose it until my 4th treatment, which was a very emotional time, I think, for any woman to lose your hair. I could still remember I did trim my hair prior to getting that chemo treatment to kind of just prep myself for, having my hair shorter. It was very long. So I did that, and then within a couple weeks, so it really just started falling out in clumps, and it's a very emotional time.
I want to just read something that you wrote in your outline to us, and that was when you were talking about your hair loss came at your 4th chemo, and I believe you took your dad with you. Remember, it was being Father's Day, you couldn't leave the house, you had to come over, and you knew at that time you needed to get your hair cut, so you went to your hairdresser, and you said, I only cried once during the process and realized soon after it was the most empowering moment of my life. It was me taking control. Cancer wasn't going to take me down. Yes. And that's the hardest part, is when you see your hair falling out and you deal with people who've had to go through that.
Right.
Although it's just exterior, it's still hard to face
you realize
that your health is being affected.
Right.
And it's the physical sign of that.
Yes. You come to a point, I think you realize it is just hair. It's going to grow back. My health is what is important. So, and basically what started happening is your head starts to hurt a little bit, and my hair was getting matted, and it was hurting me at night when I was sleeping. So when she shaved it off, it was like a breath of fresh air, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, okay, this isn't going to take me down. I'm going to win this cancer battle.
That was great.
So you're going through your treatments at the time, and where you were receiving your treatments. Tell us how the treatment was there, how the nurses and how the kind of support team that you had there.
Yes, everyone I dealt with, I had Dr. Evans and Dr. Karp as my doctors, Dr. Karp being my radiation doctor, and Dr. Evans was my oncologist. And between the doctors and the nurses and staff that they treated me very well, and I could tell I received top-notch treatment. They made me feel very comfortable when I was getting my treatments, and I wasn't afraid. And I have nothing but good things to say about them.
So even though you had your treatment and you had your surgery in Allentown, you were able to receive your treatments here in Hazleton, which is very important for people to know, because to actually uproot yourself and have to go to another city or something when you could get the same treatment here.
Right, exactly.
It helps a lot with that.
Yes.
What were you like after your treatments? Were you exhausted, or what was it like for you?
Pretty much the chemo takes like 72 hours to really get into your body. So I would schedule my treatments, usually my chemo treatment, for a Thursday, and then I was able to still work on Friday. But by Sunday or Monday, I would be pretty much tired. But
okay, so wait, did you work the entire time?
I did, yes.
Oh, God love you.
Yes. To me, it was important to keep going and maintain a normal lifestyle, and just being at work to help keep my mind off everything. So to me,
and you're trying to keep your life as normal as possible, like when you talked. You wrote such amazing things in here that I have to keep reading these. You said, cancer truly brings you to your knees, but for some reason God gave me the strength and hope of positivity to get through on my own. I even drove myself to all my treatments. I feel like now I'm here to help others now facing cancer battles. If I can give them words of encouragement or inspiration, I will. And you definitely have. And social media can be such an amazing thing when used correctly. And you really have inspired and touched a lot of people. I'm hoping we do that again today through the show. You said, I've learned no matter what cards you are dealt, you have to keep going no matter what. And that's no matter what cards you are dealt.
Exactly.
Especially something like cancer.
Right.
You got to keep pushing on.
Yes. I have 2 friends battling cancer right now, one ovarian and one lymphoma. And I try to send them, an inspirational quote every day, just try to help them get through and just be positive and, just give them some kind of wisdom from my experience to just help them get through each day and keep fighting so they can win their battles.
And that's so important, because I know people myself who have told me the same thing, who are battling cancer. They're on their journey, and they've told me that when they do get to the end, they'll talk with me and they'll say, the one day when you said this or this or this to me, it really helped me that day. So your particular message and everything that you're sending out through social media, there isn't a day goes by that I don't look on Facebook and check my social media to find out that someone's asking for prayers.
Right.
And as a group, the support, the prayer, and everything that we give. And you're a symbol of hope for these people.
Yes.
Losing your hair, you had to put your faith in the hands of these doctors. And how did your parents handle all this, everything that you were going through? I mean, you were the cancer patient, but yet you have a whole family that went through this.
Right, yes. They were a huge support system for me. And of course, my parents were nervous, but I tried to assure them every day I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be fine. And they knew, for some reason I was given strength from God or whoever it was, but I was given such strength to get through this and such positivity. And throughout the whole journey, I feel like I became a happier person because it makes you realize every day is truly a gift.
Isn't that amazing? And
Yes.
when you mentioned about your hair falling out, they have a Look Good, Feel Good program in our area. Did you use that program?
I did, yes, and it was very helpful to give you makeup tips and just help you get through, with losing your hair. People don't realize you lose your eyebrows, you lose your eyelashes, so it just, is a glimmer of hope to make you feel good about yourself and make you feel pretty again.
So Cheryl, for people who are surrounded by those who have cancer, what would you say is the best way that they can find support? So people around you, how do they support someone? Because always, I'm sure people come, what can I do? What can I say?
Right, yes.
So what is it that helps you out the most? If someone has a friend or a family member that's going through cancer, what can they do to help support them?
What helped me the most is I received so many numerous cards from people. It seemed like if I was having, a bad day and not feeling well, I would come home from work and someone would send me a card, and it was just the perfect moment to, uplift your spirits. Getting text messages, people sent me flowers, they sent me dinners, they sent me ice cream. So there, between my neighbors, my coworkers, my friends, my childhood friends, my college roommates, like everyone, it just seemed like every day there was someone there for me. So,
We didn't touch on one thing that's also important with this, the financial burden.
yes.
Insurance covers some things depending on your insurance again,
Right.
but you're at the mercy of the insurance companies waiting to see if you could get that medication that's going to save your life.
Right.
Did you have to deal with anything that and the financial burden?
Right.
As well.
Everything, thank God I do have a good job with good health care insurance, but there were some things that I do have to pay. I'm still making payments right now, so there is a big financial burden. But to me, again, I wanted to just do it on my own and not ask for help. So
at the point we're at right now, we're at the end of the show, and people can just visit the websites and whatever for more information. But right now, you are cancer-free.
Yes.
You've had your port removed.
Yes.
You're done with treatments.
Yes.
And
Just need checkups,
we have
right?
something special that maybe you want to show us if you're free to do it.
sure. My hair is growing back, so everyone thinks this is my real hair, but this is actually a wig.
And
my
there's the
hair. It's
reveal.
And you look amazing with that. I'm telling you, you should rock that short hair. You look amazing with short hair.
Thank you.
You really, really do.
Thank you.
Is
You
that
really
wig
do.
warm?
It is very warm, yes, especially with hot flashes, yes.
You look, we have to wrap up the show, but you actually still have to, you're not done now. You need to go for every 3 months.
Yes,
for a
every 3
checkup.
months I still need to get a CAT scan to just make sure that there is nothing there. But thank God, my first one, I am cancer-free, so
Yay.
yes.
Well, I thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story. Again, cancer survivor. Can't say that enough on the show here today with Cheryl Shema, who went through the battle of endometrial cancer for the last year. And you're here talking about it, inspiring others, giving some hope for those who are going through cancer and also the support of their families. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you too, honey. I have nothing further to say other than God bless you. We wish you well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for watching. Make sure that you watch this again and again. Make sure you take care of your health, and we'll see you next time on The Girl.